Happy Saturday, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Is this shit just crazy or what? I have a hard time every day reading through the news. I watch very little cable TV anymore, or any kind of TV. I don't even watch many YouTube channels or anything anymore. I just read for the most part. I get through the information much quicker that way. And so just reading through the news every day, is it just me, or is this like beyond belief? I mean, we knew it was going to be bad, right? But it's just, and I guess it's as bad as we thought, maybe even worse than we thought in some ways. I don't know. But still, even if it's what we expected, when we're actually living through it, it's still hard to believe that this is all true, that this is happening. And that still so many people seem not to give a damn, or just completely oblivious. Although polling that's coming out, people are beginning to wake up. That is for sure. Trump's poll numbers are in the friggin' toilet. Even on what was his strongest issue, immigration, he is completely underwater. Like big time, like double digits underwater. His approval on the issue of, I'm going to get it wrong. I've read so many polls recently, but it's bad. In one of the polls I saw, they broke it down, approval on immigration among Republicans, Democrats, and independents. And he was double digit underwater with both Democrats, obviously, and independents. It was like, just insane. Like 90+% of Democrats disapprove of Trump's handling of the immigration issue. And among even independents, he was like underwater, like 40-something%, like huge margins disapprove of independents, disapprove of Trump. And it was like among Republicans, of course, they approve, but it was only like 70% or something like that of Republicans. And so he's just horribly underwater, even on his best issue. And maybe it's not even his best issue anymore. He's doing so badly on it. And on top of that, the public sentiment about immigration is reversing. Now more people than at the start of his presidency now approve of immigration and want more immigration. All thanks to the way Donald Trump has handled this. And I think in part this has to do with the fact, this bullshit narrative from Trump and MAGA Republicans and all of right-wing media, that they're all the immigrants are just a bunch of criminals. And now Donald Trump's, deportation efforts are proving that that's a lie. He said he was going to go after just the criminals, right? Well, those don't get you to the numbers that Donald Trump promised. So he's going after all these non-criminals. And the American people are seeing this, and they're like, wait a minute, I thought all these immigrants, you told us all these illegal immigrants are all criminals. But you're going after these people who are just trying to work and earn a living, and they're working in the farms, picking our food. They're in the parking lot of Home Depot trying to make an honest day's, an honest buck, doing a hard day's work. These are the people you're going after? So Trump's own immigration enforcement efforts are proving the whole thing's been a lie, and I think people are starting to wake up to that. But you got so much now. You got all that. I mean, I'm not seeing as many people waking up as quickly as I would like, but they're waking up. So you got that going on. And then we're seeing these horrible images, videos coming out of California of these thugs just rounding people up. No due process, no warrants, just Gestapo tactic shit. And now with the passage of this big, beautiful piece of shit bill, we are now going to be funding ICE to the tune of I can't remember the exact number now, but it's tens of billions of dollars a year. Now the largest law enforcement agency in the country. ICE will now have an annual budget greater than the annual budget of every country's military in the world except for 13 countries. So ICE, the budget would be the 14th largest military in the world. And you know, it's appropriate that we talk about ICE in terms of military because that's what it is. Donald Trump is using ICE, and I think plans to in the future, as his own personal military. And at some point, I'm going to talk about this more later, they're going to go from immigration enforcement to going after his political opponents. That's where I think this is going. Donald Trump wants his own standing army that he can use for whatever the hell he wants to. Because we have federal law against using the military for domestic purposes. Of course, we also have other bullshit laws like the Insurrectional Act that acts as an exception to that and gives the president authority under certain circumstances, which he has invoked in California. But it's still more tricky. It's not as easy. Then there's the possibility of the courts getting involved and all this stuff. If he wants to use the military against the American people, why not just turn ICE, a domestic law enforcement agency, into your own personal military? That way you don't have to get involved in all that. Well, you know, you're not allowed to use the Military Insurrection Act. Oh, now we're being sued for using the military. Just get around that. Just make ICE essentially a military. And you get around it that way. And that's what he's doing. I think that's what his plan for ICE is. That's what the tens of billions of dollars in additional funding for ICE is about. It's not about deportations. It's not about immigration enforcement. That's what they pretend that it's about, but it's not. And I think we're going to see that. And there's so much more that's going on in this country that's just so friggin' awful. Anyway, before I go, there's one thing I wanted to bring to your attention. As you know, you might not realize that you're on the channel that you're on. I have two channels here on YouTube. I have my main channel, which is called The Romano Report, and then I have this channel, which is sort of a secondary channel. It's called Romano. This is a channel for me. It's actually a channel that I revived from the dead a while ago. I'm not going to bore you with all the reasons, but it's a channel that I'm going to use for things additional to politics. If I just want to talk about some other things that I don't normally talk about, this would be the channel that I do it on, just so you know. But my main channel, where I do most of my posting, I post 2 to 3 videos a day usually. They're usually around 10-15 minutes long, and I'm finding that even posting three times a day is not enough. I'm not able to get to all the information that's out there that I want to deal with. And so I'm thinking about doing a daily, or at least a few times a week, podcast that would be extended. I'm thinking like 45 minutes to an hour, maybe more, depending on how much there is to talk about that day. And I could do that on my main channel, The Romano Report, or I guess I could do it on this channel. But again, for reasons I don't want to bore you with here, I'm thinking about doing it on a completely new channel, just starting from scratch. And I wanted your input. Number one, is that something you'd be interested in? I don't know exactly what that would look like. It would be me talking about multiple things. I'm anticipating it mostly being video, but I don't know, maybe it would just be, you know, sometimes it'll just be audio. I don't know. I guess that'll be a work in progress. But number one, would you be interested in something like that? And then number two, what should I call it? You know, I don't know what to call it if I started a new channel specifically for this podcast. I mean, I guess I could call it the Romano Report Podcast, but I don't really like that. I don't know. What do you think? Anyway, that's where I'm asking for any suggestions and input you might have. One, would you be interested? And two, you got any suggestions for what I should call this thing? Anyway, that's it for now. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.